Welcome back to the Nick Leach Show. Today is Wednesday, October 18th, and we've just got another show full of football we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the NFL, we're going to talk about college football, do our hot take rundown, go through all the news and notes through the NFL. Obviously, it's going to be heavy on the Lions yet again because they've got another victory underneath their belts. Then we'll jump over and do some college football talk and wrap it all up with our Heisman highlight at the end. But got to bring in Steady. The man was in the general vicinity of Detroit this past weekend, and want to see how he's feeling. Big wedding this weekend.
Yeah, I feel great. Wedding was on Friday night, so I've had plenty of time to recover since then. Michigan is freezing.
Yep.
I mean, it's kind of cold down here too, but it's not anything near Michigan. The worst part of the winter isn't even the cold; it's the lack of sunlight. It's so depressing. It's so depressing.
Does that
Like
bug you?
dude, I didn't see the sun the whole time I was there. Yeah, it's depressing as fuck. Yeah, because then I come down here and there's not a cloud in the sky.
Oh,
It can
so you're
be
not. I was just thinking more of like the time of the day versus not. See, I don't know why.
no, it's just the gloom and the gray everywhere. It just looks like death.
See, like to me, I,
and
I know people get like the seasonal depression and things like that, but I don't know. I don't think I've ever really faced that. I don't think it really bugs me
because
too
you've
much.
lived
Or
in
maybe,
Michigan your whole time, the whole time.
yeah.
Once you move down here, that's something I never even realized was really a thing. I just felt like that was just winter period.
Mm-hmm.
Down here, it's completely different. Like maybe a day a week, like, and it's actually like raining or something when we have that kind of weather. Like it's constant sunshine during the winter. So like even when it's cold, it's not miserable. It doesn't feel gross outside. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's cold. It can get cold stuff here too, but it's not gloomy and just depressing. Like, that's a huge drastic difference. I didn't realize it was. I mean, it seems to have started decently early this year. Hopefully, for everybody that lives up north, it's not going to be a bad winter, but we'll see. But yeah, I didn't see the sun the whole time I was there.
Yeah, I was just say the last few years here in Michigan too, it's felt like all the way through October. I would say it was actually pretty warm, but this year it pretty much drastically shut off
Yeah.
like right at the beginning of the month. So I don't know. I don't know, maybe global warming's not a thing here anymore, but um, yeah, it's never. And I know it bugs people when it gets dark super early at night, and to me that's never really bugged me either too. So
No,
maybe
I
I'm
don't
just
mind that. Yeah, that doesn't. It's the during the day. Like Friday was the wedding. We golfed in the morning. Like, yeah, there was a little bit of like maybe a little like sprinkles and stuff. So like that makes sense. But like the sun never popped its head the whole time. I got there Wednesday night and left Sunday morning. I didn't see the sun one time the whole time
so
I was
you're
in
just in a
Michigan.
badass mood by the time you're like, just get me out of here.
I mean, well, I feel like anytime I go do for like go travel for a wedding, it's just like the day after is like, first off, I don't want to do anything, and then I'm not at my home, so it's like it sucks. Period.
Yeah.
Like I
What
would have rather just been home.
the wedding wasn't outside, was it?
It was.
Oh, so you probably froze your ass off.
Wasn't it's like after like so it was kind of nice. Like they had like a shut up cat, man, dude. These cats are so annoying.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like terrible. So like I mean like the ceremony was quick, and the photos weren't bad either. But they also had like a so like it was like a enclosed like patio kind of thing where it was outside.
Yeah.
That yeah, it was cold in there, but with like everybody packed in it, it was like it didn't have a lot of openings. Like it had like the one main entrance that was open. So there wasn't like airflow coming through there. So that wasn't terrible. And then they also had like a where they did like their cocktail hour and everything like was inside and it was all heated with like wood stove. So like you had plenty of like if you wanted to go sit inside for 5 minutes and like just warm back up, you could do that plenty of times. So it was a nice little venue. I thought it was cool.
Oh, okay.
I had a blast too. I mean, especially once drinks start flowing, you don't
Yeah.
really care about the cold anymore.
Yeah, you put on that booze blanket as we like
Yeah,
to call it. So yeah, it makes it fun. Yeah, I mean, I spent a good amount of time outside this weekend, especially on Sunday. So, shout out to my girlfriend, ran the marathon on Sunday in Grand Rapids. So, dodged all the rain. I know it was raining all day Saturday here, but she did it on Sunday, and ended up qualifying for Boston. So, based on your gender or lack thereof, you get certain qualifying standards of what it takes to get into Boston. So it's the hardest one to qualify for, from my understanding. And usually the women, the goal is to do 3 hours and 30 minutes is usually the aim for qualifying. Actually, this year coming up, so the 2024 Boston Marathon, so that's usually the standard, but because of so many people applied to run the Boston Marathon, they actually had to cut the women's time by 5 minutes for this upcoming one. So I assume with her running at 3 hours and 23 minutes, she should be fine for 2025. So that's when it would be. It wouldn't be for 2024 because the cutoff for 2024 happened like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So yeah, so 2025 we'll be in Boston watching a marathon go. So
Nice.
I know people, you've always seen the jokes out there about people making the jokes like, oh, like that could, like, going and watching a marathon, it's not fun. It's, to me, it's actually a lot of fun. It goes by a lot quicker than you think, as long as the person running is fast. But seeing people go out there and do it, a lot of people are doing it for the first time. Some people are doing it like their 50th marathon. But you see the elites and the people out front that are trying to win the overall marathon, is a sight for your eyes to see. These people are just flying out there for 26.2 miles. It makes no sense how they could keep up that speed for that long, because I run 100 yards down the road and I'm ready to be buried alive and feel like I'm gonna have a heart attack and die. So
Running for 3 hours just sounds miserable. It's just so boring.
I just can't, I could never do it. And that's what people ask, like, oh, would you want to ever train for a marathon? No, I've got, usually when I see a bunch of people doing something, oh yeah, I want to try that and do it, see if I can do it. No desire to do a marathon whatsoever. So, but my hat goes off to people that can do it, because like you said, the few times that I do try to run, or like when you're working out, I just get bored 2 miles into it.
Yeah, no, that's why if, like, a 5K is like the extent I'll ever sign up and do, because it's 3 miles. You can get that done generally in about 30 minutes, even if you walk half of it.
Yeah. But yeah, badass. So, Kari ended up finishing second among her age group. So she almost finished first, which would have been even cool. But second place is still badass.
Dude, yeah, that's fucking crazy. Do we have
Yeah.
a guest star on this podcast? I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, your cats
That
are
cat
just
is
you're
nutty today.
yeah, wants to talk about some football. So I
Dude,
guess
I started talking, like, it's the minute you hit the record button, it was just like nonstop. It's just
I
like,
was like,
it is
pay
what it
attention
is.
to me.
He's not even next to me anymore. He's just running around the apartment.
Yeah. So yeah. So if you want to go steady, we're gonna go to Boston in 2025. So never been there.
What time of
Never.
year is that?
Usually it's
imagine
Easter
that-
weekend, so like April.
Yeah.
So it could be a good time of the year. Go catch a baseball game potentially.
Yeah.
Could be sweet. Little marathon Boston game. Have some beers. That's one thing runners like to have right after they're done, is get a beer in them.
Which makes no sense. It's the most dehydrating drink you could probably have after running for 3 hours.
I think it's something like with the wheat, in the beer. I could be making this up completely, but
with the carbs, but it's still a dehydrating drink. It's not like it's gonna replenish what you just went through.
yeah, Mac ran, former co-host on the Going to Work podcast. Mac ran it as well too, and the amount of salt that like comes out of everyone's pores at the end of it is also something I did not know was a thing until you see them.
Yeah, I have no interest in.
I would die.
Again,
hats off to anyone that does a marathon, and the fact that Kari did it in 3 hours and 23 minutes. I've never been more proud of someone in my entire life for something. That's a feat I will never even come close to doing.
Yeah, I'm never signing up for a marathon.
Yep, can't get me to do it. Would you ever do like a triathlon or anything like that?
Fuck no, that sounds worse than a marathon.
right,
First
that's
off,
fair.
first off, I'd rather run a marathon 100 times than do a triathlon because I can't stand riding a bike.
Oh, see, I think that's the only part I would like. I would probably drown if
Oh,
I tried to do the swimming part.
hell no. I mean, the swimming would suck. I mean, that's hard. That's hard to do. Um, but I just can't stand around on a bike. And then you wear those stupid little pants too. It's like
Yeah.
hiking. It's like hiking and you wear the stupid little shoes, dude. Not interested.
Just take me to a baseball game.
Yeah.
All
Sit my
right,
ass in the
let's.
bleachers at Wrigley Field.
Yeah, I'll drink some beers there.
Yeah.
All right, let's shift and let's get into some football talk. So we've got what are we? Week 5? No, week 6
this
already
will
in
be
the
6.
books. Yeah,
Yeah.
damn, that's kind of depressing. I'm not gonna lie, it's going by a little bit too fast. But
And
like you say,
FYI, the playoff stuff is they seeded everybody now on ESPN, so I can see where everybody's seated and tiebreakers.
oh, nice. All right, perfect. Love that. So that's one bonus that we get, further in the year. So, week 6, Steady. Are you ready for the hot take rundown?
Yeah, hopefully we got all the teams on there this time and do this correctly.
Well, we're gonna find out here very quickly. So, kicking us off, Thursday night game: Broncos at Chiefs. Broncos 8, Chiefs 19.
I'm going to precursor this because I'm going to come back to what I'm about to say for another game, but the Broncos are a miserable football team to watch.
I was gonna say primetime games have sucked ass so far this year, and this just proved to be another one. Lions 20, Bucks 16. Or no, excuse me, Lions 20, Bucks 6.
Lions injuries are starting to pile up, and it's a little concerning.
Jared Goff will be an MVP finalist.
What are you
Ravens
What are you considering finalists? I just caveat.
like top 3.
5? Oh,
Top
okay.
3, top 5. We go. I mean, those are still top 5
3.
finalists. It's technically a finalist.
I'm just curious what the finalists are. I don't even know what.
We'll come back to it.
Okay.
All right, Ravens 24, Titans 16.
Ravens, yet again, win another boring football game.
Tennessee. Oh, excuse me. Tennessee should trade Derrick Henry to the LA Rams. Commanders 24, Falcons 16.
Commanders are making the playoffs.
No way Taylor Heineke is worse than Desmond Ritter. Vikings 19, Bears 13.
Apparently, the Vikings are alive. Who would have thought?
Well, mine was no one actually won this game because they both should have lost. Seahawks or Bengals 17, Seahawks 13.
Gino was a one-hit wonder.
Seahawks should work on red zone offense all week long. Browns 19, 49ers 17.
Niners lose perfection because of a kicker.
The 49ers cannot afford to lose Christian McCaffrey whatsoever. Dolphins 42, Panthers 21.
I've never seen a better NFL offense than the Miami Dolphins in 2023.
I said the Dolphins should have to play every game from a 14-point hold just to make it even.
They still won by 21.
Yeah, I know. Jaguars 37, Colts 20.
The Jags look like they're likely in firm control of the AFC South now.
Gardner Minshew forgot that he didn't play for the Jaguars anymore. Texans 20, Saints 13.
I'll do a two-part just because I said about the Jags. The Texans are the only team that can compete with them, but CJ Stroud's 100% a franchise quarterback.
Yep. The CJ Stroud interception was the best thing that could have happened to him this weekend.
Got that out of the way quick.
Yep. And got the ball right back.
True. Yeah, it wasn't even a turnover.
Raiders 21, Patriots 17.
Okay. Patriots versus the Browns in 2023 would be awesome.
Wait, what? Run that back by me?
Patriots versus Broncos, sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Patriots versus the Broncos in 2023 would be awesome. Just a
I will
little
cut that.
flashback game.
Yeah. New England will end up with the top 2 draft pick. Rams 26, Cardinals 9.
The Cardinals are actually tanking. It's official now.
Matthew Stafford is going to lose comeback player of the year to DeMar Hamlin. Jets 20, Eagles 14.
The Jets, I find the Jets very entertaining to watch, and Rodgers might win a Super Bowl.
I said the Jets are going to the AFC Championship. Bills 14, Giants 9.
The Bills are the biggest fraud in the NFL.
Mine was the Bills are fraudulent. That was my exact wording. All right, last game, Monday Night Football. Cowboys 20, Chargers 17.
It actually is kind of entertaining watching two teams try to lose football games.
I said this felt like two extremely average teams playing a football game. All right, that is our week 6 hot take rundown. So, obviously we're going to try to touch on as many of these as we can, but going to circle back and talk about the Lions first.
I have one thing to add, because I did say Patriots versus Broncos would be a fun thing to watch. They play on Christmas Eve night.
Perfect. Christmas miracle.
Yeah, that would be a fun one.
That's going to be awesome. All right, Lions 20, Bucks 6 on the road. Did not feel like the previous Lions games in the past where they were just kind of going out and dominating completely. For sure had some, I mean, you could call it what they were, struggles potentially in the first half. I mean, they still had a 10-3 lead going to halftime. But this was a gritty win. I mean, it was the slogan of Dan Campbell and what he's brought to Detroit. It was a gritty ass win. And ended up turning into a game that the Lions had full control of when it was all said and done. I feel like the score isn't actually indicative of exactly what happened in this game. It felt way closer than it was. But at the end of the day, dude, this is what good football teams do. They go out and win. I wouldn't say it was an ugly win by any means. You had a big shot to Jamison Williams, which we'll touch on in just a second, but just a hard fought nose win in Tampa Bay on the road. They just came off of bye week and you held them to no touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, the David Montgomery injury, I think, definitely played a pretty big factor into this game. It's clear we don't have a running back without him, and that's concerning. But yeah, I mean, the offense in the first half was just both teams were pretty non-existent. I mean, the Buccaneers had some chances to score touchdowns. Red zone defense was definitely good for Detroit. It for 100% was closer. I mean, one of my other big takeaways from this game is why Riley Patterson is still Lions kicker makes zero sense. Dan Campbell does not trust the guy. He sent him out here and he misses that one field goal. There's no reason to keep him. I mean, there's a slew of kickers that are out there just sitting around not doing anything. Find somebody you trust. I mean, it's not like you can't do it.
Here's a name, Mason Crosby.
There's plenty of guys that are just sitting around not doing anything, and it's not like teams have done this in the past where they just rotate kickers until they find one they like. They clearly doesn't like Riley Patterson. He hated having to send him out there for that one he missed.
Yeah,
he hated it. He absolutely hated that.
Yeah, and then he went out and missed it. He's like trying to play it smart, but then he couldn't because we missed the field goal anyways.
Right. So like it was just like it's been so clear. That might be the most clear thing for this Lions team in the first 6 weeks. How good they've been playing. You're going to need a kicker at some point that you can trust to make a 50-yard field goal.
Trade for Prater. Bring the man home. Send a 6th-round pick. I don't think anybody in Detroit would bat an eye about that whatsoever. Prater is out there booting field goals from 55 yards out and like they're 30-yard chip shots. I mean, the man still has it, especially at his age. Just go get that guy because you don't want to have an instance like we just saw in Cleveland this past weekend with the 49ers. And I get Jake Moody's awesome and younger, and he needs to go through some trials and tribulations. But yeah, the kicker dilemma throughout the entire NFL is so strange now that they moved the field goals back.
or the extra points. Is that what
Yeah,
you mean?
yeah. That's
Yeah,
what I meant. Sorry.
yeah. Well, that's the whole point. Like, it's worth exploring. It's not like you have a kicker that's been established for a long time that he's gonna make these kicks, and then clearly, I mean, countless times we've talked about him going forward on fourth down because they're not going to trust a kicker. And when you start playing better teams, especially in the playoffs, you're going to need a guy that you could trust to get you 3 points when you need 3 points.
Yep.
Um, it doesn't ever seem confident that Dan Campbell wants to send the kicking unit out there. It's a smart move to do in a lot of situations, but he does not seem like he ever wants to do it. And so I would highly advocate for bringing people in constantly um, throughout the next 6 weeks to just find somebody Dan Campbell at least believes in. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect because Riley Patterson's not perfect. So just get someone you believe in that you can trust to kick a 50-yard field goal.
Yeah, that's really a bit. I mean, between him and Badgley the last 2 years, they're great from 40 yards in. It's the minute you get outside
Yeah.
of 40 yards, it's clearly Dan Campbell, which is why he's gone for it. I think the most out of any coach the last 3 years on fourth down is because he gets across midfield and one, yeah, you could pin it with Jack Fox, which he was awesome on Sunday as well too. But yeah, I think we did get spoiled for. I mean, we went from Hansen. Yeah, we had a little bit of a break there, but then we went from Hansen to Prater,
You're
and those
right.
guys were booting 50-yarders and making them left and right. So I think from that standpoint, we're a little bit spoiled on there. So yeah, I mean, hopefully he does. I mean, luckily enough for us this year, for the first time in our lifetime, we're blowing teams out by double
Yeah.
scores each week. So hasn't made too much of an issue, but I can see your point when you start playing some of these closer games, it's going to matter.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I don't think you're going to expect to win all these games by this margin. So at some point, yeah, a kicker is going to possibly decide your game. I mean, we saw what the 49ers did. I mean, shit, the Eagles game was within a field goal too. So like, um, it's gonna happen. You're gonna have close games. It's the NFL, and you just hope that you have a kicker that can potentially kick a game winner, or even just get you points late in a game where you're just trying to not have to turn the ball over at midfield to hold a lead or something.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I agree. And then, yeah, I mean, my other big takeaway is of course, David Montgomery.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's a 2 game thing because we do have a bye coming up,
Yep.
and so that's, I think, best case scenario is just he's out the next 2 weeks, and then we get him back right after the bye. Because and hopefully Gibbs too. I mean, hopefully we have him more serviceable because Craig Reynolds isn't the answer.
Guy can block though.
Yeah, that's fine, but he can't. He can't run the ball.
Yeah, he had 10 carries for 15 yards.
Yeah, it's
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it
in his defense though, too, Montgomery had 6 carries for 15 yards. So it's not like the front, you got to give credit to the front seven
yeah,
for Tampa Bay was pretty damn solid. But yeah, I get you've been big on the whole David Montgomery train. If we lose him, it's a huge piece of the offense, which I agree. But um,
which the offense could just change a little bit while he's out. Like, just you're maybe passing a little bit more. I mean, you have JMO now, and you're looking for different options. And hopefully Gibbs is back sooner than later too. And then you have him getting out wide or coming out of the backfield and catching passes. I mean, him in space compared to Craig Reynolds isn't even comparable either.
mhm.
That's just the biggest issue. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's going to be a super long thing for David Montgomery. I mean, it's going to be a few weeks. So hopefully we get him shortly after the bye, if not right after. And that's all he needs, just the next month off.
Yeah, and it's a rib cartilage injury, so there's
Yeah.
not really. I don't think there's anything
No.
you can really do besides just wait.
And yeah, get steroid injections for pain.
Yeah.
No, I don't really think you could do much. So yeah, it's almost at like a best case scenario that happened right now, because you got 2 games and then the bye, and one of the games is the Raiders Monday Night Football. You should win that game.
Yeah, regardless of you could be in the backfield and the Lions should
Yeah,
still win that game.
it should.
But no, I kind of want to circle back to talking about throwing the football. I mean, Jared Goff was fantastic in
Yeah.
this game. I mean, 30 for 44, 350 yards, 2 touchdowns, and you talked about that big shot to JMO, and I had put a tweet out there like, "Where art thou, JMO?" And people thought maybe I was taking a dig at JMO. I'm not really taking a dig. I just want to see him out there. It has nothing to do. I'm not questioning his abilities or anything. I just want the coaching staff to actually, all right, let's see him. Like, put this guy out there. I know he had that one drop on an up and out or up and like a hitch route, which
That's a bad throw too.
it was a bad throw, and people were saying, and people were crucifying him. It's like, oh, hit your hand, you got to catch it. It's like, all right, one, he had to come back to the ball, and two, he had to dive to try to even get to it.
Yeah.
One, it was not a good throw. I think Goff will even say it was a bad throw. That one was on me. So I don't get all the JMO hate, and people were. I was more so at the lack of usage from the coaching staff. I'm not even mad at JMO not. I just put him out there, design some plays. Clearly, the kid can outrun anybody out there. So let's start using them. And finally, we got to see that again on Sunday. We saw it once or twice last year, but clearly he has getaway speed from any cornerback or safety over the top. Chuck it up, and Goff is still trying to get familiar with the speed, even through the one a little bit underneath to him. But I mean, what an adjustment to kind of do a 360 and make the catch and end up in the end zone. So that felt like a huge game changer for the Lions, because wasn't much offense on both sides for either the Bucs or the Lions. And so the fact that you were able to try to get a big play like that felt huge. So I think now, hopefully that's kind of all right, welcome back, JMO. Now we're going to start getting you heavily involved.
Yeah, I mean, he's just got to get more than 3 targets. I like looking at the targets that the disbursement between the wide receivers. Amon-Ra 15, Laporta 11, nobody else more than 3. You got to get more guys involved in the offense, especially the passing game. I get the Tampa Bay Bucks aren't anybody to just like bat an eye about. Like, they played pretty great football this year, and their defense looked pretty good in this game. But you have to disperse that ball a little bit more. If you get another wide receiver out there, I think JMO, like old school Lockett with Russell Wilson. Like, that's the type of guy that he should be. And he should be getting touches more, and especially deep down the field. At least got to try to hit him. First, second down, do some play action. Just see if you can get past some guys. If not, then you're dumped down to Laporta or whoever the back is in that play.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I was gonna say. I think the one person that benefits the most out of this whole deal is Laporta. I think. You already saw he had 11 targets, and you would think 11 targets, he had more than 4 catches. But, I think that's the one guy, and even probably St. Brown and Laporta more so than anybody. But just because of how he can take the top off the defense and essentially open up the center of the field for those two guys. So, just get him on the field. People know like that he is the deep threat. So let him run his streaks, let him run his post across the middle and to the corner of the end zone. So, I think it's, I get what you're saying to spread the ball around more, but I think it's only going to open up the door more for those two guys to get even more targets.
Potentially. I think you just got to find guys like that to be able to get the ball. Like, take away 3 of the targets for Laporta and put them to Jameson Williams. Like, he has the potential of making a small play a big play. Compared to Laporta. So I just think, 44 pass attempts, more than 3 should be going JMO's way.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you don't take a guy 12th overall to only throw.
Correct. That's the other. Yeah, it's the other factor. He's a first round pick. You got to at least see what you got there. And it's not like there was a whole lot of problems with the offense. But you still need to try to do things. I get JMO wasn't out there for a whole lot, but at some point, the guy's a year and a half into his NFL career. I get he missed a lot of last year because of injury. My whole stance is, he blew it himself for the beginning of this year. Nobody else did it but him. And he shouldn't have been. Clearly he's in football shape. It's not like he practiced in the preseason training camp.
The fans that are out there are like, no, you got to ease him back in. Why? Like, he's
not coming back from an injury.
He tweaked his hamstring a little bit, but he had plenty of time to recover from that. But this is National Football League. You've got to be ready to play. And look across the NFL. Let's ease CJ Stroud into. Oh, by the way, the guy's already won 3 football games off of one of the worst teams in the NFL. Like, if the guy can play, he can play. It has nothing to do with easing him back in. He's had way more time to get acclimated with the playbook, So he should be good there. Should have. I mean, he was healthy all off season. He was healthy the first part of this year, besides the training camp and the hamstring. So this whole ease him back in and make sure he should be ready to go. There's no excuse
Yes.
of like, oh, let's get him. No, he got that's what the reps last year were for. That's why we didn't see a lot of them at the end of last year.
Yeah, I
So
completely agree. Yeah, and nothing changed with the offense either. I mean, it's the same
yeah,
regime calling the plays. It's
and he
not like
trained. Yeah, and
things
he
are
trained
different.
with St. Brown and Goff in the offseason. So this whole idea of people are treating him like he was a rookie, the rookie he was last year coming off the injury. No,
Yeah,
get him
and
out there. I want to see him.
yeah, and to be clear, we're not knocking JMO at all here. We're
No,
talking about the
mm-mm.
coaching staff.
Correct. Yes. Design
Yes,
plays for put him. I want to see him on the field as much as we see Josh Reynolds.
yes, he should be. I mean, he should be. Yeah, I mean, he should get the second most snaps of any wide receiver on our team.
Agreed. Because that's where you drafted him. It's not
Yes,
us. It's not us trying to be smarter than the coaches. It's, hey, that's where you drafted him. That's where he should be.
yep,
And it's clearly he's gotten the other players will tell you that the skills that he has on the team is they're there. They've talked about him. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown went on his podcast and talked about it. Like he's got special ability. Why aren't I was getting frustrated. Why aren't we seeing him? So it was glad to at least I get a little glimpse and you get 3 targets. Maybe we can get to 6 next week and just keep doubling production. So yeah, that can be huge going forward, especially if Montgomery's out. Excuse me. So I mean, Gibbs was standing on the sideline, so I assume he's maybe a game away, or if not, he'll be back next week. But yeah, I would think so as well too. But I think he'll just leave to Ben Johnson get more creative what he did last year when Swift get hurt. You see St. Brown on some end arounds. JMO had a couple end arounds last year too. So I think Ben Johnson will just get a little bit classier that way. But I mean, credit to Tampa Bay. I mean, Agent Hutchinson probably one of his worst games as a pro, which is crazy to say a year and a half into his career. Didn't really see much from him. Alex Anzalone was all over the place. Jack Campbell had a pretty solid game. The defense as a whole, even though Hutch wasn't that standout player that we've seen, defense was great. I mean, I think I raised my eyebrow. There was 2 throws that Baker Mayfield could have made that would have been over the top touchdowns, probably like 60 or 40 yards, I think, that he overthrew, I think, Chris Godwin on. But I mean, those plays are going to happen. And, the defense ultimately stepped up and didn't allow them to score once on Sunday. So very fun to see. And I can't believe we're already sitting here at 5-1 and with a real shot to, I'm telling you, Steady, I know the team's not getting ahead, but you look at Baltimore, Baltimore's not in it. The Baltimore team from a few years ago. The Chargers are just love to lose football games. I mean, you look at the rest of the schedule, it's any given Sunday, but it is extremely favorable for this team moving forward.
Yeah, as long as they stay healthy. I mean, injuries are already a concern. Your point, Alex Anzalone is the most important. He's the Dave Montgomery of the defense. I mean, that guy's all over the field. It's not even close compared to the other linebackers. He's head and shoulders better than everybody else we have at that position. So yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone played bad in this game. It's maybe time the Lions just consider, especially with the amount of injuries across the league, not only just with the Lions, but think about getting some depth pieces, secondary, maybe a running back, offensive line. Yeah. I mean, you only got 2 weeks until the trade deadline. So it's maybe time just to think about doing that. I mean, Lions have never been in this position before. Potential 1 seed is definitely available. You don't play either of the top 2 teams. They have tougher schedules than you do have. The division's trash. Like it's worth considering adding pieces for that push because you got to make those decisions now. I mean, you don't have time really to wait.
In years past too, like we've always even the somewhat decent Lions team have been floating at that 500 mark, and it's like, all right, well, are you going to buy or are you going to sell? And I mean, look at 2 players that are still in the league and at the top of their game at their respective positions. So I mean, Darius Slay a couple years ago, you traded away for a third round draft pick. You traded Quandre Diggs away for, I believe, a third round draft pick as well too. So, you can get those type of quality players back. And to your point about Alex Anzalone, another guy in that defense too. I think it's Cam Sutton. Cam Sutton's been unbelievable
Mm-hmm.
on the Lions defense, and again, just does not get a lot of talk because you don't see him because the ball doesn't really get thrown his way that much. So, he's a great piece. Will Harris and um uh why Will Harris had the interception, but Jerry Jacobs has been great. But I do think you need another Cam Sutton type caliber player, and that's what Emmanuel Mosley was supposed to be. So, yeah, let's see it. I mean, all that will signify to the fan base even more is that, hey, like, they're all in. The whole regime is like, all right, we got more than enough good pieces through the draft the last 2 years. Let's take a expendable third or fourth round draft pick and go get some depth. So I'm with you on that. And it could fall perfectly because our bye week's going to come essentially right after that Monday Night Football game. So I want to say the trade deadline is on that Tuesday after Monday Night Football. I'm pretty sure it's on Halloween at 3 or 4 o'clock. So
yeah, and we got like, I'm seeing mixed reports on how much cap we actually have. So we have anywhere from $6 to $8 million available.
Yeah,
we can take on a veteran doing that. Even maybe trade a guy that's not playing for that piece to save some cap room there. But yeah, I think you have enough wiggle room to make two decent moves if you're willing to do so, and I think you should be willing to do so. Who cares about the picks when you have a shot at actually doing something this season?
Yeah, no, I 100% with you. Let's let's see it, and hopefully, I mean, the corner position too. Brian Branch, I think, was practicing a little bit last week, so maybe you get him back this weekend too, which would be huge. You almost kind of forget about him a little bit since you haven't seen him on the field. But one thing I want to do before we kind of touch on some of the other stuff around the NFL study is your prediction of the Lions record. I mean, we're almost a third of the way through the season. What, honestly, looking at schedule actually, where do you predict this Lions team to finish at?
13-4.
Okay, and do you have your other 3 losses picked out?
Yeah, this week to the Ravens. They'll drop one of the Vikings games, and that could be just because we're not playing people in that last week, and losing to the Cowboys late too. So there's 3, and then I think we just randomly drop one if it's the Chargers, Packers, or Saints. I think it's one of those teams that just randomness of the NFL.
Yeah, that's look, man. It's crazy that I'm even gonna say this, but I think I do think 15-2 is realistic. I can't. I never thought that was possible, but I do think based on the strength of schedule and what Dan Campbell's preaching, I think there's a chance you go into Baltimore this week and the defense is going to be able to stop Lamar and that
I'm
team.
worried about the offense.
Yeah, I mean, the Ravens defense is I still don't think it's as good as what we think of the Ravens
we're
defense.
one-dimensional team right now. That's my concern. But we're not going to be able to run the ball.
I mean, we'll find out. I mean, I think get Jadeveon Clowney's having a good year there too, but it's not like the big Calais Campbell that's been there in years past. So I think it's the uniforms that scare people more than anything. But I think they just continue to knock one off another. And you look at the Eagles schedule the next few weeks, you look at the Niners schedule. Dude, the 1 seed for the Lions is an actual real possibility, especially since the 2 games that we saw from both of those teams this past weekend that we'll touch on in just a second. But I've got full belief now. The Kool-Aid is, I've already had, 3 pitchers and I'm going back to the sink to make one more. The expectations have changed drastically from what we've seen and what we've seen across the NFL as a whole, that the Lions are a top 3 team in the NFL. Top 2, I got Miami and the Lions 1A, 1B. You can take your pick of who you want to put in that, but clearly I think those are the best 2 teams in the NFL.
Just the Lions and Miami.
The top two teams in the NFL. Like if you're going top two.
49ers. I still think the 49ers are the best team in the NFC. I get they just lost, but the Lions also lost to Seattle. Seattle's way worse than Cleveland.
Yeah, but
Um,
but I think what made the 49ers so scary was that defense and the offense combined, right? Like it's pretty wholeheartedly, but I mean, we saw a little bit. Brock Purdy was humanized to some degree. That was his first regular season loss. I just think.
yeah, I mean,
I know that.
but they also didn't lose. Like that would be the Lions losing St. Brown and Montgomery in the same game. That didn't happen. They had no Debo
No,
Samuel and no CMC,
no, I mean, I agree to that, but it just.
and they should have won the game. Kicker blew it.
Yeah, but I mean, who
I
was
don't
it?
think you're saying that if they won the game. He missed 2 field goals in that game.
Yeah, but you had PJ Walker starting for the Browns and was able to put up 19
Sure, I
points.
mean,
That's
Geno Smith has been terrible this year, and he put up 50 against us.
yeah, there are still some underlying things there that I talked about on the defensive side of the ball, but I mean, you were still in that game. You still put up 31
Right,
points. That was more.
but pretty much what you just said can be said about the 49ers in this week. It's 1 week. I still think the 49ers are the team to be in the NFC. The AFC, I 100% agree with you. I think Miami's just killing everybody. I mean, outside that one Bills game, I mean, they've looked completely dominant.
Yeah.
Um,
But like that's the thing.
The offense is that offense. There's no one even comparable offensively
I
to
mean,
them right now.
I mean, from explosiveness, yes, but I mean, if you go back and look at the Lions' last few games, like they're beating teams by double digits, just like the maybe not as big as clearly not as big as margins as Miami, but the Lions' offense is still in defense, you know, are still beating teams by double digits, which I think I think we're a little bit guarded, you know, from just being Lions fans. But I try to listen to, you know, some of even the national media talk about it. It's like, dude, they're pummeling teams just like Miami is. It's maybe not as high
It's
scoring, but
I mean, it's a drastic difference offensively between the two teams. It's 100
no,
over 100 yards different between Miami and 10 points difference.
yeah, but I'm saying our defense is far better
Correct.
than Miami's
True.
defense.
True. That's I don't disagree with that, but I mean the offense isn't even close to comparable.
No, but I mean, as long as you got your defense, you're just allowing.
They
Your
got
defense.
700 more yards, same amount of games.
Yeah, but the offense just doesn't
That's
need
2
scores.
games worth of Lions.
Yeah, but they just see, but the Miami's offense is kind of like Chip Kelly when he was at Oregon, is just get as many possessions as he possibly can and put up as many points. And Lions are more of
It's working.
I mean, it is, but I'm saying the more of the game management possessions. Like, hey, we want to take the ball as much as we can and bleed out the clock. So that's why they don't have to score as much.
To be fair to Miami, Miami's running the ball better than the Lions are. It's not even close to
This
there
week.
either. No, they're averaging 180 yards on the ground. The Lions are averaging 125.
Yeah,
that team is complete on the offensive side, and they don't have arguably their best running back this week.
Well, at the same time too, though, it's like if all right, take Miami out of the equation, you would sit there and say like the Lions arguably have the best offense in the NFL.
You could make that argument.
Yep.
They're definitely bunched up with some other teams. I mean, I'm looking at the stats right now. They're roughly similar with Buffalo, Kansas City, and Philadelphia. And I guess you could even throw in the 49ers in that conversation as well.
Yeah, I just think I just believe McCaffrey, and I think you'll agree to this, McCaffrey going down is way more pivotal to the Niners than I think Montgomery is to the Lions.
Potentially. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's a MVP candidate compared to Montgomery, barely Pro Bowler.
Well, and that's why I think like McCaffrey's how good he is bails Brock Purdy out a little bit. And Brock Purdy's been fantastic. Has nothing against him, but now more of the pressure becomes on his shoulders if McCaffrey can't go versus if Montgomery can't go out, Goff can step up and be like, we've seen him. I mean, he did it on Sunday too. Like, and we've seen him do it the last year. So I don't know. It's crazy to think about. I know you remind me a lot of like my dad is try to not be too high on the Lions. And I get the injuries.
They're just not the best team in the NFL. They're a top 5 team in the NFL. I 100% agree. Maybe even a top 3 team in the NFL, but they're not the best team in the NFL right now.
It's hard to argue that they're not though.
Who have they beaten?
They beat Seattle. They beat Kansas City on the road. They beat
Okay, that's
they beat
it.
the Bucks on the road, division leader, and they beat the Falcons on the road. And the Falcons were leading
Falcons
their division at the time.
after what, week 2? Come on, dude.
Hey, I'm just saying
Come on, dude.
they were the division leader.
No, Miami's averaging 500 yards a game,
But
dude. Until someone stops them.
I mean, you could play that game with the Eagles, the Niners,
You're making it sound
and the
so
Dolphins.
clear cut that they're the best team in the league.
I
The Eagles definitely, I definitely don't agree that they are. I think the Lions are better than the Eagles. That's why I said I still think it's the 49ers. A fully healthy 49ers team, I think that's the team to beat. And all reason to believe that Debo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey are going to be playing this year. It's not like they're going to be out. It doesn't even seem like an extended period of time.
Yeah. So we can touch on that McCaffrey injury because it is a little bit weird. And I know he said he avoided major injury, but I mean, if he avoided, that's something that's going to linger moving forward, I would think. No?
It's an oblique injury. I don't. It doesn't sound like it's that big of a deal. There's a few. I know there's like one big doctor on Twitter that does this every week. Like he has a thread of like 24 players this week that he
Jesus.
reviews, like based off like history of what guys having similar injuries, what they kind of tend to do, and what their production looks like. McCaffrey's, he said it's like a 1 to 2 week thing at most, and production does not decline at all for prior people that have the same injury in the NFL.
I mean, I will trust the doctor.
Yeah, I'm trusting the doctor
I'm
here
not a
too.
doctor.
But all reason to believe Christian McCaffrey is going to be probably playing this week.
Yeah.
And he's going to be great doing. I mean, the guy's played through plenty of other injuries in the past too. Maybe he gets a little less usage just over the next week or two. I mean, they still have a pretty good stranglehold over that division. I mean, the Cardinals suck. The Seahawks are terrible. The Rams, the only contention, but they've already beat them once too. So,
Right.
yeah, I imagine they're probably going to be more cautious with them because they're doing the same thing that everybody should be doing that's in their position, just looking forward, and just even if you go 500 the next 4 weeks, you're probably still winning the division by multiple games.
Yeah, and that's where I kind of want to shift over to talk about the other team, the Eagles. I think a lot. I mean, you called it, right? I mean, you said the Jets were going to win this football game.
I did
and
say that.
Um,
Zach Wilson looks good. He looks good enough to win football games.
And everybody across the board, I'd say, national media, I think we've said it since the start of the show that there's something off with this Eagles offense that you can't put your finger on it exactly, but something is just not right there. And I think we're going to continue to see. I don't think it's
they just brought in superstar Julio Jones though.
Yeah, but why you got Devontae?
He's been non-existent though. I don't know. The offense, they want to pound the ball. I don't think the running backs are good enough to do that. Yeah, maybe Swift looked decent in the first 3 weeks of the season, but I mean, they're not even running him a lot of the time. They're running fucking Gainwell.
Well, they rushed the ball. Let's see, 22 times. DeAndre Swift had 10 of the carries. Gainwell had 2. Boston Scott had 2, and Jalen Hurts had 8 of them.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about like week to week. Like DeAndre Swift's not the workhorse week to week. Like it'll be Gainwell 1 week, and then it'll be Swift the next week. Maybe that's just their way of trying to keep guys healthy. I don't know, but I mean, this game, I just haven't been very impressed with how the offense looks completely different than what it did last year.
I think it's Jalen Hurts throwing the football. That might be like.
Yeah, I think it's his passing. Yeah, I 100% agree with that.
And he's already got.
It could be AJ Brown complaining too that he just needs to get the ball as much as he does. He's a great player and he does well when he does get the ball, but it's brought in it around is a better idea.
Yeah, because it's brought in you don't hear about Dallas Goedert anymore, and Devontae Smith, like you said, it just seems non-existent anymore, and that could be because of AJ Brown being a diva on that team. So, essentially it's kind of like one of those situations. Like, is AJ Brown a cancer to the Eagles offense? People are asking.
Do you know Miami goes to Philadelphia Sunday Night Football this upcoming week?
Correct. Yes. I think we talked about that last week. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. I did. I mean, after hearing DJ Turner and uh, Sauce Gardner were out for this game, I didn't think there was a chance the Jets would actually hang in this. But I mean, damn, those boys got up. They played some hard nosed football and ended up picking Jalen Hurts, picking him off 3 times.
Yeah, I mean he's got 7 touchdowns, 7 interceptions through 6 weeks. That's not good. That's
Yeah, that's not.
like that's
That's
we're talking
that's
about
Dak
like bad.
Prescott.
Yeah, we're talking about bad quarterbacks when we talk about those kind of numbers.
Yeah, those are Dak Prescott numbers right there.
And his yards aren't even that bad. I mean,
No, I
he's
mean,
only 300 yards behind Tua, and Tua is having maybe one of the best years a quarterback has ever had ever.
yeah.
So
Well, I just think I think after those first couple of weeks, they thought a lot of Eagles thought they were just going to pound it. But even when they were pounding the ball, it's still like something with the passing game seems off. So,
yeah, I agree.
yeah, that'll be fun to watch. But overall, very weird week in the NFL. I think only 10 or two of the games hit the overs. A lot of
11
low
or something
scoring
like that,
games. Which I mean, points are always more fun in the NFL, clearly. But you know, those were the two big stories with the Niners and the Eagles. But yeah, a lot of injuries seem like they added up too. I think maybe the last game we talk about is that Bills Giants game. A game that should have been just a beatdown. I don't know what to make of the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, the fact that they're 4-2, I think, is lucky. I mean, probably they should have lost this game.
Yes.
I mean, to not score any points until the fourth quarter, and the big blunder that the Giants did in the end of the first half, where easily could have gotten at least 3 more points. Maybe changes how that game plays out, but yeah, I completely agree. I have no idea what's going on with the Bills. I mean, the AFC is completely wide open, in my opinion. I mean, I do think the best team is in the AFC. I think the Dolphins are there, but I mean, the Chiefs haven't looked super spectacular. The Bills, the Bengals are not a good football team right now. Their defense is carrying them, which is shocking to say with the superstars they have on offense. And outside of those four teams, I mean, the Browns or Ravens, you really think those are Super Bowl contenders right now? I don't know. Um, it's an interesting conference where it seems a lot more wide open than the top three scenario, which the NFC clearly has right now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's definitely weird. I think you expect it. One, I think, you know, it's been very less than, you know, less than enticing play out of Josh Allen. I think I was listening to Pat Mack. He just looks confused half the time of what's going on back there. And I don't know. It's another, like, the question you always seem to face, like when that team starts struggling, is Stephon Diggs happy? Is Stephon Diggs happy? It's like, all right, is that scenario just wearing on the team to where it's making the team worse? Is he a cancer in the locker room? So I mean, it's just little things like that. It makes no sense why you end up almost losing to Tyrod Taylor, which ultimately you did get bailed out from pass interference not being called back-to-back times on Darren Waller. But yeah, I mean, it's not the Bills that everyone expects to be a Super Bowl contender by any means. That's why I think the Jets, if the Jets get Aaron Rodgers back at any point during the season, I think the rest of the AFC is in trouble. That defense is so good for the Jets.
I'm putting it out there. I'm at 100% that he's playing. Guy was walking normally on Sunday.
No,
and on the sideline wearing a headset. Like, yeah, the guy is. The fact he's doing that 6 weeks after this happened is insane. There's no way he does not play this year. The only way he does not play is if they're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. If there's still a shot they can make the playoffs, and he has at least a week and a half, 2 weeks from that time to like know that he's gonna need to play and just like go full at it and try to practice and stuff like that, I 100% believe he's playing.
Yeah.
No, like, I would not be super shocked if we see him right after Thanksgiving. Like we see him all December.
I mean, he
That's another 6 weeks from now.
Yeah, no, he was throwing the ball pain free, like in warmups, like
it's
and
impressive.
rotating over onto his feet. It is truly mind-boggling what that guy is doing right now.
It's very impressive. I kind of just want to see him
Well,
play, see what happens.
and I want to check in on J.K. Dobbins. Like, isn't it crazy they both blew their Achilles out week 1?
I don't think they had the
JK,
same surgery though, did they? Did JK get the same one?
all I know, he had surgery. I don't know if it was from the same person, but
Yeah, but
JK got
Aaron,
ruled out that night.
yeah, Aaron Rodgers had like more of a seems like an experimental thing. So like maybe his re-injury rate's just high, but I mean, so maybe for a guy that's got 2 years left playing football, it's worth trying to do. Whereas like a guy that's a little bit younger, I mean, JK's legs are just all
Fragile.
all surgery repaired now at this point. So yeah, I don't think they had the same exact surgery, but yeah, to your point, I mean, if this works for Aaron Rodgers, like I think I've said this on a previous episode that it's the new Tommy John. Guys are gonna doctors are gonna just start performing this now, and you may have a guy that gets hurt preseason that's back and playing by week 10.
Yeah, I mean it is. It's insane to see. I want to see it too. That will just be, it's fun, and he's having fun getting all the speculation around him too.
Yeah, I think that I even think there's even his more involvement. So like, what was it, 2 weeks ago that we saw him sitting in a booth or a suite, and this week he's down on the field, headset during the game, active with his teammates. It seems like a guy that's likely to play. Like guys that are out for the year aren't usually just hanging out on the sidelines.
Yeah, correct. And I will say, this is going to sound crazy. There was a throw that Zach Wilson made on the sideline that looked very Aaron Rodgers-esque. And it had nothing to do with the actual ball itself. It was the mannerism in which Zach Wilson threw it. It was kind of like the jump throw that we've seen Rodgers make from all those years. And I know it's been highlighted a little bit. How he throws the football is actually like both feet come off the ground. And it's actually helped him avoid injury over the course of his career. Zach Wilson made a throw like that on the sideline. I was like, uh-oh, that could be bad for the rest of the NFL.
Yeah, I actually wonder if this was the best thing for the Jets as a whole and Zach Wilson, that you now have a Hall of Fame quarterback that's not there and potentially is going to be your starting quarterback next year, and Zach Wilson's still on a rookie deal. And then right as his rookie deal is about to end, he steps into the role and he's a fucking superstar quarterback. Yeah. He just needed somebody to learn from, and last year he had no help. Mike White wasn't going to teach him shit.
Mike White had a good start to his 2023 season on Sunday. Did you see what happened there?
No, I did not.
He came in for Tua in that Carolina
I didn't even
game.
know he played.
Yeah, he came in for Tua like one of the, like, I think 5 or 7 minutes left in the fourth because they were up by 21. First pass, pick 6, end zone. Pulled right back out of the game.
I love that.
So, yeah, so to your point, Mike White was not the guy for him.
Well, and just your note that earlier, and then we can move on to the next thing. I don't think we need to harp on this past week. It was honestly probably one of the worst weeks we'll have all year, football wise. But CJ Stroud's interception immediately did it in the game, and then the return fumbled and he got the ball right back. It wasn't like it never even happened. It literally it was like he got sacked on the play. He lost 4 yards. Yeah,
it was you had the change of possession, so it was I was like, no way is this guy having this type of luck this early in his career. But even he's an Ohio State guy, I think the Texans are an organization that you can root for. It's not like they've had a lot of success over the years. And
also, Michigan beat the shit out of him while he was at Ohio State. So
he's not bad.
He does well.
He's good in your book.
He can do fine. Right, he was fair. A loser at Ohio State, so that's fine. Thanks, CJ. You're my man.
All right, that's fair. That's fair enough. I don't have really anything else. The Lions could win the division by week 10. That's all. That's all I got for NFL.
I think I'm gonna make a prediction. I think Minnesota wins some games here.
You think so?
Forward. Yeah, I do.
I don't know. They look so bad against the Bears, and the Bears aren't good. Oh, I mean, that could be one thing. Justin Fields sounds like he could miss quite a bit of time.
Well, here, let me read off their upcoming schedule. So, yeah, they have Monday Night Football. They host the 49ers, likely loss. So they're sitting 2-4, but then they play
I
Packers,
mean, two and
Falcons,
five.
Saints. Oh, yeah, 2-5, sorry. And then they play Packers, Falcons, Saints, Broncos, Bears, Raiders. Like, they
Okay,
have
yeah,
a nice stretch there. So
it's
I still think the
favorable, but
Lions, I still think the Lions take care of business. And depending on, also, I think Justin Jefferson's status, I think Kirk Cousins good enough to figure out how to win some games
it
with that
sounds like
team.
Justin Jefferson doesn't want to play the rest of the year.
Yeah, that is the concern. Yeah, I mean he's out for at least the next 3 weeks,
Yeah.
but uh, I still think that they're the only team. I don't think they push the Lions for the division win, but I think they can potentially get themselves back into competitive football in mid-December, where that at least that first Lions Vikings game
Hmm.
matters to them, unlikely to the Lions that much. Like I think the Lions are going to be in a position where they probably only have to win one of the last 3 weeks to secure the division at worst. Um,
Yeah.
so I just think the Vikings, if there's a team to look out for, I don't think it's the Packers. It's definitely not the Bears, especially without Justin Fields. And then it's the Vikings. I mean, Kirk Cousins is still having a decent year.
Yeah, and yeah, in theory, right? He's not supposed to that trade clause is not supposed to get waived, so he's supposed to
That's
remain
what
with
he's
them.
saying. Yeah.
That's what like I said,
But I
it's
mean,
what a lot.
what team's looking for a quarterback that's not going to be the Jets? I mean, the Jets seem fine with Zach Wilson now. The last 3 weeks have been good.
Yeah, I mean they're winning some football games. Yeah, I mean Broncos aren't going to do it. I still have my pick of the Steelers, so I mean we can start the saga all over again. But 2 weeks can change a lot in the NFL, so
Yeah.
you never know.
I guess the Raiders
So
are still 3-3 too.
yeah, so we'll find out here soon enough. But yeah, don't have too much there. You want to look ahead to week 7?
Yes.
So clearly the Lions are going to Baltimore this week to face off against the Ravens. Ravens are 4-2, Lions 5-1. Good test, I think, for both teams moving forward. Injuries are a big deal for I think for both these teams. That's probably two of the most injured teams in the NFL. I think if you look at it as in totality. Uh, and the line right now, Baltimore's at -3. So only the second game this year, the Lions have been an underdog, but should be a great test in my opinion. This is the Ravens aren't a bad football team by any means. Should be a team that wins the AFC North. So it should be another playoff team that you're going to be facing. Think probably the first game in a while that we actually get some drama at the end of it. I could see this one being an extremely close game, actually, for once, and maybe get some more offense from both sides. But I think the Lions go in there and get another victory. I think for me, it's 30 to 27 could be a late field goal.
Damn,
Hopefully not a deep
that
one
many
though.
points?
For both sides or for the Ravens?
And both. That's a lot of points.
Yeah. I mean the over under is 42, but
Yeah. No, I'm hammering the under. Here's what's going to happen. The game's going to be 21-20. Ravens up. Lions have the ball with 2 minutes left. And Dan Campbell and that front office are idiots and haven't decided on a kicker yet this year. And we're going to have Riley Patterson kick a 48-yard field goal and he's going to fucking doink it. And we lose. or in Lions fashion, opposite roles reverse, and Justin Tucker kicks a 62-yarder and beats us.
This isn't the same old Lions though, Steady. You need to just erase the past from your memory right now. I know it's tough to do, but this team's different. It's different.
Prove
15-3, 15-3 over the last 18 games. I get half those games for last year, but
and half of them didn't matter because we still missed playoffs.
just wipe it away.
Actually, all those games didn't matter. We still missed playoffs.
I think
the only game that mattered last year was the last week of the season.
I mean, this is easily, besides the Dolphins and Eagles game on Sunday night, this is by far the best matchup from. I mean, the 1 o'clock slate is.
You're telling me you're not getting up for Raiders, Bears, or Bills, Patriots, or Commanders, Giants?
I can't say that I am this week unless we gamble on them. But
the highest over under This is so fucked up. The highest over under in the 1 o'clock games is the Lions Ravens at 42.
What happened to scoring in the NFL? I thought this was a scoring league.
Oh, this is so bad.
Yeah, a lot of it's been. A lot of people are saying it's actually quarterback play is like significantly down across the board.
Yeah,
Um,
Joe Burrow looks like he's, I don't even know, Ryan Tannehill out there. Like it's terrible. It's not good
yeah,
quarterback play anywhere.
yeah, no. I mean, you could replace almost. You could probably replace 20 of the team quarterbacks right now.
I mean, the best. I mean, so Tua, Kirk Cousins, Mahomes. Dude, damn, Russell Wilson's actually having a decent year. I didn't realize how good his year
His
was.
numbers aren't actually bad. They just figure
Yeah,
out
his numbers
ways.
actually look good. And then Jared Goff, I guess you could throw Russell Wilson in there because I mean, he's only got 4 interceptions right now, and that's pretty damn good compared to the rest of the league with the amount of touchdowns he has. Damn, why is that team so bad? Looking at the numbers.
It's because you said their defense can't stop anybody now. But yeah, 1 o'clock slate. I mean, Lions by far the best one in there.
Yeah.
Shockingly enough, the Thursday night game might not be bad. Jaguars at Saints.
We'll see what kind of Derek Carr we get. Derek Carr, since the injury, has been completely different.
Is
And
your
that's,
Saints going to the Super Bowl dead?
I don't think so. I mean, that division's so bad.
All right,
I mean, the division leader's a half a game ahead of them.
No, I completely understand that. I just wasn't sure if you, as a whole, have given up on that yet.
No,
Because your Jets is back on.
I think the Saints have a great. Yeah, the Jets are back on. I think the Saints have a great defense, and that's been keeping them afloat. I mean, I'll pick the Saints to win that game.
I mean, Jaguars are back. I don't know. They get the NFL. This has been a weird NFL. This could be another game where they just come out flat and don't score a lot of points. But I feel like they're back at least after their game last week. So I know Trevor Lawrence is questionable with a knee injury. It sounds like he made some better progress today. But
Yeah, if he plays, they're for sure losing.
if Trevor Lawrence plays,
Or if he doesn't play, sorry. Yeah,
oh
if he
yes,
doesn't, if
agreed.
Trevor Lawrence is not active, the Saints are gonna destroy that. That defense is too good for. I don't even know who their backup is, and I don't even
I was going to
care.
ask you, like, fun game. Who's
Let me try
who
to
is?
guess. See if I can actually get it.
All right,
I
let me.
probably can. I probably know who. I probably should know who it is.
I mean, it's gonna be a
Chad.
tough one. No.
You think it's a tough one to get?
It's a tough one, but he has been a backup in the league for a while.
Like a good while. So
Yeah,
he's not super young.
no, he's not super young. He played for an NFC West team.
Most
Is
recently,
where you'll remember him most.
an NFC West team.
Yep. Backup. Just a career backup QB.
Oh, Rosen.
Nope.
Damn.
I don't even think Rosen's in the league anymore. I think he's on a
Well,
practice
that was a
squad
good
somewhere.
guess, dude. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad.
Where does this guy go to school?
I
Do you
don't know.
Click on
Tell
his
you.
name; it'll tell you.
I did. He
Was
went
he
to Big Ten.
drafted? Was he drafted?
Yes.
Oh, he went to a Big Ten school.
Yeah, round 3, pick 104 in the 2017 draft.
2017 draft from a Big Ten school.
Yeah, I feel like this is right up your alley. You should definitely get this now.
A Big Ten school.
Yep. Drafted to an NFC West team.
Who the fuck was drafted from a Big Ten school? Big Ten has terrible quarterbacks.
Big Ten West as well, too. I'm giving you all kinds of hints here.
I don't think it's a Wisconsin quarterback. Don't think it's a Nebraska quarterback. Don't think it's Minnesota quarterback.
I would be surprised. If you get this, I'll actually be surprised.
Really? It's that hard.
Yeah. It's just a tough one. Yeah, it's like not a
2017, but was drafted in the third round. Quarterback's not like that's a. He's got to be like the 6th or 7th quarterback taken in that draft.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not a guy that you think about, though. That's the problem. Until he comes in a game and backs up.
But he has played. He has played.
He played a lot when he was with this team before.
The Cardinals?
Nope.
Well, then it's got to be the Seahawks.
Nope. I'll tell you, it was for the 49ers.
He played a lot for the 49ers. I have no
Yeah,
idea who this is.
it's CJ Beathard.
Oh,
Yeah, it was a tough one. It was
he went to
there's no way.
Iowa, right? So it was an Iowa
Yeah,
quarterback.
yeah, Iowa quarterback. So yeah, could get a CJ Beathard sighting. Which I mean, I think he's won a
He's
football
gonna
game in the
get
past.
chewed. He's not good. He went to Iowa. Come on, I can't believe he was a third-round pick. That's insane.
Yeah, that was
That's
wow. That was not expecting
crazy.
that. I was expecting like 6th round when I counted when I clicked on his name.
Third-round pick. Okay, yeah, you keep going. I'm looking up the 2017 draft.
Yeah, no,
Because that's
really
blown
the
my
only
mind.
other game I think we even remotely want to talk about is that Dolphins Eagles game on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah.
So I think this was even two teams that a lot of people picked to be in the Super Bowl. So you get that matchup early in the year. Let's play. Whose line is it anyway? Eagles are at home, Dolphins on the road. What's the line?
All I know is it was the highest over under at
Yep.
like 52 or something like that.
Correct.
So I didn't see. Yeah, so it's in Philadelphia. I'm going to assume the Eagles are 1.5 favorites.
2. So yeah, you're close.
Yeah, so this 2017 draft, most notably is Mitch Trubisky. I mean, this
You
draft,
mean Patrick Mahomes?
yeah, but I mean, this draft is stacked. Like Miles Garrett, Mitch Trubisky, yeah, Solomon Thomas sucked. Leonard Fournette, Corey Davis, Jamal Adams, Mike Williams, Christian McCaffrey, John Ross was a ninth pick, Mahomes at 10, Watson. Yeah, that's really
Yeah. So you go. He was like a third quarterback off the board, and he's going to be like the 7th.
yeah. So those were the 3 quarterbacks: Mitch, Mahomes, Watson in the first round. Second round, Deshaun Kaiser.
Oh, Jesus.
I can't believe he outperformed him apparently. Jesus. And then third round, Davis Webb.
Didn't he play at like Liberty or BYU or something?
Cal.
Oh, yeah. See,
Which apparently Cal can make quarterbacks, but they suck at football. It makes no sense. And then CJ Beathard, so 6th quarterback. Yeah, I was pretty much dead on by a third round pick.
Yeah.
Out of Iowa. What a shit quarterback class. But I mean, even most notably in this third round, you got Kamara, Cooper Kupp, Alex Anzalone, Chris Godwin, Kareem Hunt, Donta Foreman, Shaq Griffin, Cam Sutton, Kenny Galladay.
Rip.
Yeah, so I mean, this is interesting.
Yeah,
damn,
that's
I can't believe an Iowa quarterback was drafted in the third round.
Yeah.
Watch games.
But Eagles, Dolphins. I mean, it should be an instant classic. I just don't think the Eagles are going to be able to keep up with the Dolphins.
I think it looks like 40s to 20s. I agree.
I think the fun part is going to be watching Darius Slay and Tyreek Hill, but no one can keep up with Tyreek Hill. Nobody.
No, he actually had an injury scare. We didn't touch about him, but he pulled up on that long run. I don't know if you saw it. He had a long run.
Hamstrung.
But
it turned out to be cramps.
Yeah, and he was fine. He came back into the game. Got dangerous for a second. I mean, if they lose him, that team changes a lot. Because Jalen Waddle has almost been nothing compared to what Tyreek Hill's doing.
Well, it's same thing it's literally the same thing. I mean, Tyreek Hill is just like Christian McCaffrey. He's in talks for MVP as a wide receiver. So
yeah, rightfully so.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you can't lose that guy. You're telling me you can't lose your MVP candidate on the team to be good?
Probably not.
That's fair.
I got my upset pick of the week though, and
all right.
You correct me if it shouldn't be an upset pick, but the Broncos are underdogs at home against the Packers. I think the Broncos win that game, and I get the Packers are only 2-3. If you won't allow me to pick that one, then I'm picking the Cardinals to beat the Seahawks on the road.
No, no. I mean, that's definitely. I mean, I'm surprised you guys much faith in the Broncos as you do. I do believe the Packers suck as well too. So, and It's not like the Broncos are getting blown out like they've done. It's just been like dumb shit has been. Oh, I said they have gotten blown out once. The 70-20 was ridiculous, but I mean, a lot of the other games I felt like they've been in,
Just a
and it's
little.
just been like dumb mistake happen, um, like one after another. So yeah, I could see them as getting their second win on the season here. Um, I think we're really gonna get the Jordan Love isn't good at football train going for Packers fans
Yeah,
moving forward.
agreed.
Said from the get go, he's not good. But yeah, kind of just it's weird. It's the NFL as a whole. A lot of these teams, like I think that's why the Dolphins are so much fun to watch because they're one of the few teams in the NFL that are putting up a ton of points. And again, everybody just likes when points are scored. So, um, yeah, it's been a weird year so far in the NFL. So, Lions, that's why I still think the Lions top two team.
Gotta stay healthy. Health is the biggest thing
Yep.
at this point in the season.
Yeah, I mean, again, you've got several game lead right now too. So I mean, even if you're looking at the division, you've got,
Oh yeah.
um, you know, you've got
Nobody else has more than 2 wins. You got a three
yeah.
game
So I'm
lead.
saying like the Broncos, there's a good chance Broncos could beat the Packers this week. The Bears are not going to beat the Raiders, and then
Yeah, the Vikings play the
Minnesota,
49ers. 49ers Monday Night Football.
yeah, Monday Night Football. So boom, you get could be. I mean, if you win this week, there's a chance you could increase that by even more. So,
Yeah. I don't
but
think
I
there's any
think
way they lose the division.
if they lose the division, fire everybody.
I'm in. I love it. I'm in.
I mean, there's no excuse whatsoever. And I think there's like the predictors are having Lions have like a 95% chance to make the playoffs. So if you don't win the division this year, fire everybody
I agree.
and
I'm
sell
in.
the team.
I'm in. No, don't do that part.
All right, that's all we really got so far for NFL football. Yeah, let's shift some gears over into some college football.
Yeah, because there was actually good games on this weekend.
There were some great games in college
Did
football. Like it
were you
lived up
able
to the hype. It
were
lived
you
up to
able
the
to
hype
see
that we
Oregon
talked about.
Washington?
Yes, I was.
Oh my
It
god,
was
what a fucking game.
it was the best game of college football I feel like I've seen in 2+ years.
Uh
It's all recency
maybe.
bias. It's all recency
But
bias, Steady.
yeah, I mean, for sure this year it's been the best game. It's gonna be hard to top that game. I mean, that game was electric. Just an unbelievable game. I thought both teams played pretty well too. Like, I mean, it wasn't like super big mistakes going around from the quarterbacks or anything that like kept things tight. Uh, Kind of like a pseudo shootout. I mean, it started looking like in the first half that these teams were going to start rolling for a second,
Yeah.
and then it kind of slowed down a little bit. Washington looks unreal. I mean, Michael Penix is having himself a year. I,
Fine year.
that's the type of game. As long as they go and they could lose a game, say they lose to USC and still win the Pac-12 championship and go to the playoff. Like he's the Heisman. I mean, that's the type of game that you go and win, and especially when Caleb Williams goes and throws a dud at Notre Dame that's lost 2 games already. That you separated yourself from everybody for Heisman. I mean, outside shots. I think another quarterback to look at is JJ McCarthy. I mean, the guy's barely played in the fourth quarter. He's played in the fourth quarter one time this year. If Michigan's undefeated, Washington slips up. That would be my future bet right now. I put it on JJ because putting money on Michael Penix right now is dumb. The odds just aren't there for you. Should have got in on it early.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, that game was unreal. I mean, across the board. I mean, Oregon looked like they were going to kind of walk away with it at one point, and then Washington just kept kind of having answers.
Do you think Oregon should have went for it on fourth down versus kicking the field goal?
No, I don't know. I mean, I don't think it was the wrong play. I no, I think you should have kicked it.
Okay. I mean, I just know it's kind of been the question all week is like, should they have have gone for it and just try to put the game away that way instead of missing the field goal, and then Penix goes right down the field in 2 plays and scores a touchdown. So
No, I think you kick the field goal. Just kick it and see.
I just think kickers are such a liability in college football that you can, unless it's from 20 yards and in, I feel like
Yeah,
there's a 50% chance for it to
but at
for
the
it to
same
go in.
time, like you were having some success against Washington. It wasn't like it was that they were just like I get this game was in the 30s for both teams. Then it kind of seems a little high scoring, but for college football, that's not that crazy.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind the call there. I mean, Washington's offense, the way they conducted that drive. I mean, that wide receiver, Dunze, he's a potential top 10 pick.
Yeah.
He's that good. And same thing with Oregon's Troy Franklin. I mean, Troy Franklin should be a first round pick too, in my opinion. I think he's having himself a fine year too. I don't even know what year he is, if he's eligible for this upcoming year or not. Yeah, he is. Um, yeah, I think I've even said it before. I think Oregon and Washington are the top two teams in that conference. USC has not played great, even against bad opponents. They're playing high scoring games and they're having a battle against everybody. Where Washington and Oregon are kind of kicking the shit out of everybody. Um, Now it's Washington's league.
Yep.
That's the biggest game likely on their schedule. I mean, I don't see. I mean, they're stretched coming up here. I mean, they play two shit teams coming up, but then they play at USC, host Utah, and then at Oregon State. Yeah, those are big games. But I think Oregon's better than all of those teams, and you just took care of them. But what a way to kind of like finally kick off like the heart of college football season,
Yeah.
where things are going to start getting decided. There's going to be a lot of bigger matchups being played. Like you got Ohio State, Penn State coming up this weekend. That could decide a lot of things. That separates good teams. I think Washington makes playoffs. I think it's pretty solidified at this point, unless they go out and lose games they shouldn't lose, and somehow don't win the Pac-12 championship and lose it to say USC, and USC doesn't lose another game, they probably are out. But at this point, I think they likely run the table and are in the playoff pretty comfortably.
Did you see Michael Penix freestyling on the sideline when they were down? I think they were
No,
down that what was it, 3 points? Um yeah, he was on the sideline because I think the receiver that he was freestyling to like quote tweeted it on Twitter and said that yeah, he was definitely freestyling on the sideline, getting
that's
himself
so
hyped
funny.
up for the next drive. I was like that's a quarterback you want.
I mean, the good news for him is that Tua is playing well, because a left-handed quarterback in the NFL looks so weird. But with what Tua is doing and what he's doing this year, I mean, there's, I guess, room for, or at least potential room for him
Le-
in the NFL, where
le-
likely
this is-
isn't there if Tua sucks, like people are just going to look at Penix like, oh, it's just another Tua. Like, I don't know. There's room for a left-handed quarterback in the NFL, but
they're in right now. Lefty quarterbacks are in.
yeah,
No, it was a great game, and like you said, it's like all right, now we're getting to a stretch of where we have a lot of good games. Um, but we have, I mean, obviously the other big takeaway was, I mean, Notre Dame beat the hell out of Caleb Williams. I think Caleb
yeah,
Williams is Heisman dreams of going back to back are done after this game. I mean, had less than 200 yards, which is 199 if you can phrase stuff a certain way, but one touchdown and three interceptions, and they were not good interceptions by. I
no,
mean, they were very much so a freshman or sophomore year type interception. It was a
yeah.
huge, like, felt like a huge step back for him. I get he's still going to be the number one overall pick, but yeah, definitely his worst game that we've seen out of him in 2 years. And
Notre Dame dominated this from start to finish too.
yeah,
Like,
it was
this
it was
was
never
never
even
a game.
close.
No,
No.
USC
And
never put up a fight.
no, and even when it felt like maybe it was going to get close, it just never. I mean, it was 24-6 at halftime. So
Yeah,
just
yeah,
complete domination. So USC clearly doesn't travel well. Um, those were the two main games that I watched. I know the one game that I'm surprised we haven't even brought up or you even mentioned was the game on Friday night. Uh, so this would probably be the last time we talk about this team, and it's the Colorado game. Um, so if I mean, one, the game started at what was it, 11 o'clock at night Eastern time. So
Late.
yeah, just insane start time, which I know a lot of the teams were bitching about. But if you went to bed at halftime, which I know a lot of people here on the East Coast did, Colorado was up 29-0 and lost this football game. Which
To a
I
terrible Stanford team. Terrible football team.
I don't know if
At
I've
home.
ever heard. All right, so as I say, I don't know if I know a bigger deficit, but when Indianapolis lost their 33-0 lead against the Minnesota Vikings last year, that was
Oh, yeah.
one. But I mean, the Cardinals, Stanford was 1-3 going into this football game.
Yeah, terrible.
Not good.
1-4. 1-4.
Or yeah, excuse me, 1-4.
Yeah,
And
no business being back in this game.
essentially this is the terrible Colorado team that Steady has been saying has been there the whole time. So Steady, this was a you were right moment for you.
Yeah, I've been trying to tell you. So the question is, can Colorado win 2 more games? I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, they
I don't
played
know if they
3 of their 5 remaining games are against ranked opponents. Washington State's not currently ranked, but has been ranked more recently than Colorado has been. And Arizona is 4-3. That's the other game that's not ranked, and they are at least competing with everybody in the league. So my odds are, I don't know if Colorado wins another game. That's a demoralizing loss.
Yeah, I mean, if you would say, "Hey, your quarterback was 33 for 47 and threw for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns," do you win that football game? I think
Yeah, I think
10 times out of
yes.
9 you would say yes. But
Yeah,
somehow they found a way to lose that game.
I will say. I mean, he actually has stayed impressive throughout the year.
Shadur,
Yeah, I think he's going to have hella issues when he gets to the NFL. I think his ego is way too large for an NFL quarterback, and that's going to blow up in his face. I mean, we saw what happened with Johnny Manziel, especially maybe in a situation where his dad's not on the sideline too. Um, we'll see. But I mean, I am still impressed with what he's done. I do just think he deserves to be drafted pretty highly based off what he's been doing. But again, the team's not good. It's just not.
yeah, yeah, it's yeah, I mean, it's I'm not surprised, but yeah, it even left Dion questioning his team, say like who actually loves football or who just likes football, pretty much.
Yeah.
So I think the other big conversation too is with Travis Hunter. I know a lot of NFL scouts are saying he should probably just focus on one position. I think that one position is wide receiver. I think the
I
instincts
disagree.
that you think it should be
I
cornerback.
I think he should be a DB. Yep.
Well, I mean, he had 13 receptions for 140 yards, and I think he allowed like 11 receptions for 100 and something odd yards as a defensive back. So,
Yeah, I get it, but I mean, I think for Colorado purposes, I think it's fine what he's doing. Maybe not so because he, like you just said, he got chewed up defensively because of maybe what he's doing offensively, getting the ball so
right.
much. But for, I mean, NFL purposes, 100% he needs to solidify what side of the ball he's going to play. There's no way he can play the amount or anywhere near the amount of snaps he's playing right now in the NFL. It's just not humanly possible. He will not be able to survive, and he'll get chewed to pieces on one side of the ball or the other, way worse than he's getting chewed to pieces by a bad Stanford team. Um, I think he's better off being a DB. I think that's where he generally excels more. I get this game; it didn't look great, but I think he's overall. I mean, I get he's having a great offensive year, but they also don't have anybody else to throw the ball to, so he's getting a good amount of the looks. I think in the NFL he would be best served as a DB. I mean, he's learning from one of the best DBs
Yeah,
ever.
true.
I think that Bozeman, and this is a guy that's not draft eligible this upcoming year, so he's got to stay at
Yeah.
Colorado another year. So I think it would be interesting to see what he ends up doing. 'Cause I also don't think he's. I think to serve him better to get drafted in the first round is not being a wide receiver. is being a DB. We saw what Jabril Peppers is a good example of that guy that kind of played both sides of the ball, not nearly as much as Travis Hunter is, but
Hmm.
excelled defensively and was drafted in the first round, and has had an okay NFL career. And I think
Right.
Travis Hunter is a better player than he is overall. So I would put him at DB. I guess some people would disagree with me, but for Colorado purposes, I think it's fine that he plays both sides. Maybe just not as much. Maybe
Yeah.
get him some rest.
Must be nice that you're that good at football. You can pick and choose, like, hey, which path do I want to
Yeah,
go on? Do I want to be a receiver? Do I want to be a cornerback? So, um, yeah, I mean, Michigan beat the hell out of Indiana. Just not, I mean, Michigan games are just not even close. Like, pretty much just
they.
call me
Uh,
when you get to Ohio State or Penn State.
I they have to be the best team in the country right now. I mean,
You would think.
Georgia didn't look great at Vanderbilt this weekend.
Yeah, and you
Um,
just lost Brock Bowers for the next
that's true too. That
4 to 6
that
weeks.
might be huge for them. Um, yeah, I mean, Michigan just beating the shit up. I mean, they were down 7-0 in the first quarter in this game. They gave up one big play. Indiana scored. Didn't do anything offensively in the first quarter, and I was like, "Fuck, this is not looking good." And then came out, just dominated the game after that, and didn't play any
They're
starters in the fourth quarter.
they're so good that I know I don't even have to watch the football games. That's
Yeah,
they're so good that they're boring.
I'm a Michigan fan, and it's been boring. I mean, I stopped watching after halftime because it's like there's no shot these teams are coming back.
Yeah, it's just I mean I get one thing, but like it's almost like having it's almost to me it's like you being the older brother. You're like 13 years old and you got a 6 or 7 year old brother that you're playing basketball with, and like, oh yeah, you let him score a point here and there, and then you just all right, I'm gonna put score
Yeah,
20 times that
yeah,
let you know who Big Brother is. So
yeah.
there's not
Uh,
much excitement that comes there.
no, we're just beating the shit out of people.
Yeah.
Georgia's schedule upcoming: Florida, Missouri ranked, Ole Miss ranked, at Tennessee ranked. They're going to lose a game without Brock Bowers.
Yeah. I mean, they haven't done it. I mean, yeah, they've won a lot of games, but they haven't been impressed. Like, it'd be one thing if they were winning games like how Michigan is against all these weak opponents, but they're
They're
not. They're just
not. Yeah.
they're very stagnant wins. And if they weren't the preseason number one coming in, they would be ranked 8 team, and they would probably be falling to 10 or 11 just because the wins aren't impressive.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like if Michigan was preseason number one, there's no way. I don't think Georgia's even number two anymore. I think Ohio
Yeah.
State likely is.
Yeah, yeah. If they, and I think it's all recency bias of their national championship. It's kind of
Yeah.
and that's what the college
Well,
football
back
is
to
so
back
weird.
national championships too.
Correct. Yes, exactly. It's all right. Pretty much, Georgia can win every game by 1 point the rest of the year. I feel like, and they would still be the number one seed. It's like, all right, until you lose, we're not gonna knock you for it.
Well,
So
and I would not be shocked if they lose a game that they drop pretty significantly too.
yeah, because then all the other games this year that they've haven't covered
Yeah,
spreads on or whatever it may be look even worse. So
yeah, and I'll be interesting. So I think in 2 weeks after week nine, the first playoff ranking comes out. That'll be interesting to see too, because I mean it's not AP voters doing that anymore. Um,
correct.
to see if Michigan and Georgia are still undefeated, how they rank those two teams, because Michigan's
No,
definitely been closing the gap upon AP voters on getting first place votes. There's also a slew of teams getting first place votes.
yeah,
People are starting to fade off of Georgia. I'd be shocked to see if the committee, especially if they go out and look like a dud against Florida this upcoming week and same against Missouri and just barely win those games. I would not be shocked if the winner of Penn State, Ohio State, or Michigan, um, so those undefeated teams jumps them, or Washington, somebody into a 1 or 2 spot, and they're sitting
that
at 3 or something like that.
yeah, that's why I wish we had the committee all year, because the committee's not afraid to
Yeah,
do something like that,
yeah,
which we've seen in years past. So I guarantee you, if things stay kind of how they've been the last few weeks, at least between Michigan and Georgia, Michigan, there's no doubt in my mind, will be the number one seed.
yeah,
I think it's clear cut. I mean, they're far better than any team in college football, in my
yeah.
opinion, right now.
And to start moving in our conversation for this upcoming week,
Yep.
I'll predict right now that if the Michigan game doesn't look like what Michigan's done the last, pretty much all this year, just dominating people and not playing in starters in the fourth quarter. And they have more of a tough competition at Michigan State this weekend. And then whoever wins Penn State, Ohio State wins, especially in a convincing fashion, or even if it's a close game like Oregon Washington was. I would not be shocked to see AP voters put one of those teams at number two, especially if Ohio State wins that game.
Yeah, I mean, I think even if look, it's Michigan State. They, regardless of what happens for each team in years past, always ends up being a close game. So I don't expect that. No, I am not predicting that whatsoever.
This year seems way different. I mean, Michigan's dominating everybody, and Michigan State got some issues going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's the program is
season.
just,
I get it.
Yeah, it's yeah. Like you said, it's that program is in just a horrendous spot right now. And I know the Urban Meyer to Michigan State hopes are getting stronger and more vocal out there. So
there's no way that happens.
I don't see it either, but I just see a lot of stuff on social media that people actually believe it's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen. And so, I mean, the good news for people in East Lansing is that Michigan State is preseason number 4. First basketball rankings just did come out, so there is some hope for the winner still.
Yeah. I guess real quick on that game, what's your prediction?
Michigan State.
Yeah, got to give prediction for this week.
Michigan's covering the 24 that I'm looking at, and I think the over hits because I think Michigan's going to score 50.
Yeah,
I also think that this is going to be so much different than other years, also because of how bad Michigan State has looked and all the issues surrounding Mel Tucker and stuff like that. That I think the fan base is just fucking over it, and I think East Lansing's like a home field environment is just going to be next to non-existent.
Yeah, I saw reports that a lot of Michigan State fans are just selling their tickets to Michigan fans. So, I expect a full-on beatdown. Maybe they get lucky and score 10 points, but it's not going to be. This thing's going to be over by the time the first quarter's done and over.
Yeah, with. I'll say if Michigan State scores 2 touchdowns in the first half, and Michigan's only up like 7 or something, then we got a game. I don't expect that to happen. Michigan's defense has been unreal. Michigan State just has looked so bad this year. I mean, it's like everybody else that Michigan's played. I don't expect very much offensively from those teams. Like you said, it's when Michigan plays Penn State and Ohio State that we'll officially see how good Michigan looks.
Yeah, and then I'm not even looking forward to. This is like the first Michigan State game that I haven't looked forward to in quite some time. So it's just like, all right, can Michigan State just take the rest of the year off essentially?
They're kind of are. Yeah. I mean, the way they lost it to Rutgers, that's just a kick in the balls. I mean, they had that game wrapped up.
Yep. So just an icing on top of, or probably like rock bottom for the university or for the program at least. But
in the last decade, for sure, I think it definitely is.
It's crazy the difference 2 years can make, huh?
Yeah. Don't hire coaches from Colorado. Put the rest of the NCAA.
Can Kenneth Walker come back to play college football? And that highlighting that just goes to show you it was more him than it was anybody else on that team. All right. The game to watch though this week is Penn State at Ohio State. Big noon kickoff is going there. I mean, this is going to be a true test for the Big Ten moving forward. And then you'll see, ultimately Michigan plays both these teams later this year. So, starts somewhat of the division in the Big Ten East, but this will kind of be the start of it. It will be a weird scenario that if Penn State beats Ohio State and then Michigan beats Penn State. and then Ohio State beats Michigan, it would be. I mean, what do you do there?
Yeah, I'm not 100%. There's weird tiebreakers, and the way it's going to work out because everyone else is going to beat everybody else. I'm not 100% sure how that gets broken down.
That could be fun. I'm not saying from your standpoint, but like just the drama of it all.
If that happens, I want to be. you either want to be the team that wins the Big Ten or goes to the Big Ten championship and wins it, um, or you want to be one of the two sitting on the outside that's the higher ranking in the college playoff.
Yeah.
You don't want to go to the championship game and lose it. If you go to the championship game and you're playing a game where the other two teams aren't playing, you're not making, because the Big Ten West is terrible.
Right.
So you're not
That's
making
what.
the playoff.
Oh my
It's like almost better if you're not in that game.
It sucks
or,
that we
or you
can't
have your
get.
own. Yeah. Well, that's going to change. That's going to change.
No, I know, but I'm just saying like this year would be all
Yeah.
of all the years. Let's do tournament style, like Final Four teams, and then one Big Ten championship.
That's how they should do it. I mean, so they're not going to do a Final Four with the Pac-12 teams coming in, but they're going to. It's no division. It's just top best two teams.
It's the way
They
it
should
be.
do it. They should do it at least top four. I think there's so many teams.
Well, I always look at like the Big Ten tournament at the end of right before March Madness. Like, all right, you win the Big Ten championship, you get an exemption into the college football playoff. So
that would be pretty sick if they did that.
Especially with the 12-team playoff, like that. Boom, that gets your automatic bids, and then that team's probably going to get in, but they're not getting a home playoff game.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I kind of like that.
Put me on the damn college football committee board.
Yeah, good luck.
I mean, it's a bunch of people that didn't play football anyway, so
I'm picking Ohio State to win.
All right, final score.
I don't want Ohio State to win so bad, but I think it's gonna be 24-21.
Okay, I'm going Penn State. I think Penn State's defense too good for.
I hope
Ryan
that's
Day.
the case, but I also don't think. I don't think Aller is that great either. So I think that's why I like Michigan so much, because I mean their defense has played better than both of their defenses, and they have the best quarterback is JJ McCarthy out of the three. I get McCord's numbers look good, but outside of playing Notre Dame, they haven't really played anybody either, and he hasn't looked 100% spectacular. Aller hasn't either. Whoever can run the ball better, I think, wins the game. I think that leans towards Penn State. We'll see what Travion Henderson's health is like. He didn't play this last week. That could be a huge blow for Ohio State, especially if he's not active. If he's not active, I'm going Penn State. It's whoever's going to be able to run the ball, I think, wins this game.
Yeah, I just don't believe in Kyle McCord whatsoever. So I think you get some pressure on him and disrupt what he's doing in the backfield, and especially if Marvin Harrison Jr. can't touch the ball that much, I don't think. Yeah. Honestly, don't think Ohio State will be matched whatsoever. So I think it's gonna be like a 23 to, I think low scoring, obviously, but 23 to like 23 to maybe like a weird score, maybe like 15 or something. Like something weird's gonna happen in this game, I feel like. So yeah, I think Penn State is actually the real deal.
If you can just bet a defensive touchdown, that might be a fucking play.
Oh, I like that. I might actually do that on Saturday. That's the one, and then I think really the only other game to discuss maybe is Tennessee at Alabama, which I don't think it really has that much implications. It's a big deal for the SEC because I think one of these two teams could be in the SEC championship still. Come the end of the year,
potentially
possibly
both. I mean, Tennessee still plays Georgia.
Yeah. So it's a 17 versus
divisions.
Yeah, it's a 17 versus 11 matchup, but I think that's really the only other notable game this week. Looking at it, I mean, I don't know too much about it, but
I'm both teams have been underwhelming. I mean, yes. Milroe and Milton both have not very much performed. Milroe probably more than Milton. I would just take Alabama just because they're at home. And are at least seemingly taking care of business as much as they can there. I think compared to Penn State, Ohio State, I don't think this game comes close to comparing. But yeah, if Alabama loses it opens the door up for potentially Missouri to play in the SEC championship game.
When you think of
LSU,
SEC,
or LSU's not dead yet either. Then
yeah, that's true. When you think of SEC, you think of Missouri. Yeah, I mean it's definitely a little bit lighter schedule this week, but I think the hopefully the you got Utah and USC, so you still got some good games in there, but yeah, I mean the one to watch this weekend for sure is Penn State, Ohio State. So I
Yeah,
wish this was the night game though.
Duke at Florida State, just maybe worth mentioning. Just give a little test to Florida State and the ACC. We'll see. I don't expect Duke. I mean, the line's 14 for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
I expect Florida State to take care of business, but just maybe check that game too. It's the nightcap, and same with Utah at USC. It could be the death of Caleb Williams um, in that game. So those are some nightcap games to maybe watch if you're not a Michigan or Michigan State fan.
Yeah. So should hopefully another. The 12 o'clock start though should hopefully leave a good taste in everyone's mouth for again from that Penn State Ohio State game. So definitely looking forward to that this weekend. All right, Steady, you want to get into the Heisman highlight?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Let me close this tab to make sure I'm not looking at any stats. Okay.
Yeah, I don't need you cheating over there. All right, so I'm gonna throw 3 new QBs at your way, and you've got to choose who would be the Heisman if it ended today between those 3 QBs. So let me know when you are ready.
I'm ready whenever you are.
All right, first quarterback. He's got a completion percentage of 78.2%.
That's high.
Yep. He's got just over 1,500 yards on the year. So just like 1,520 yards.
Okay.
He has, where'd that number just go? 14 touchdowns and 3 interceptions.
I think I know who that is. Okay.
Second QB. He's got a completion percentage of 73%.
Not great. Okay.
He's got 2,300 yards on the year. Wow, holy shit. He's got 22 touchdowns on the year and 3 interceptions. He's been sacked 16 times, though.
Is that a lot more than that first guy?
Yeah, about half more.
Oh, no.
All right. And then the next guy that I have for you, 72.3% completion percentage. 18, or let's call it 1,900 yards. 16 touchdowns and 2 interceptions.
Is JJ the first guy?
Correct. Yeah, I thought I was wondering if you. I had a feeling you probably knew his stats, but I was trying to throw you an.
I mean, that completion percentage just throws it all off, especially compared to the other 2 guys. I mean, he's
all right. So keep. All right. So hang on.
I think I even know the second one too.
All right. Well, I was gonna throw a third guy at you since you already knew JJ.
Sure, throw another one.
All right. So 63.9% completion percentage.
That's terrible.
Yep. 1,950 yards.
Fucking gunslinger.
16 touchdowns and 5 interceptions.
Okay, was the second one that you told me with 22 touchdowns? That Shadur?
No, it is not.
Is that Penix then?
No, it is not.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, looking at this right now, I would go with the second one you read off with 2,300 yards and 22 touchdowns as the Heisman.
Okay.
God, who was that last guy? Because that's terrible. I don't even think he's got a shot at the Heisman anymore.
He's a Big Ten quarterback.
Is that Aller?
Nope.
It's a Big Ten quarterback?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not McCord.
Nope.
Who the hell is that? A Big Ten quarterback?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Those stats aren't that bad. Is that Tua's brother?
Yes, it is. Talia, or I don't even know how you say it the correct way, but yeah, I was surprised actually his name up there.
His name up for Heisman?
Like no. I mean, he just as far as yardage. So yeah. I just kind of pulled the stats of.
Yeah, I mean that completion percentage is so bad compared to the other guy. I mean, he's 10% lower than the other guys, and JJ's 5% higher than the other two you gave me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's the last guy? Is that an ACC quarterback?
What read off his stats again to me?
1,900 yards, 72.3%, and 16 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's Dylan Gabriel, Oklahoma.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, those stats are pretty good too. I would still lean with the guy that's got 22 touchdowns. Who's that?
Yeah, Jaden Daniels, LSU.
Damn.
So
He set himself
threw a
up
couple
here.
one-loss guys in there to you, but throw you off the scent a little bit. But
Maryland still only has one loss.
What's that?
Maryland still only has one loss.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure that was the one I was.
State.
Yeah, that was the one I was unsure of.
Well, that sucks for them because they still have to play. If they only have one loss, then that means they still play Penn State and Michigan.
Oh no, because they lost to Illinois to start the season, so they got 2 losses. So I mean, there's no chance he's going to win it, but at least
No.
If you're not looking at win losses,
Is JJ leading the NCAA in completion percentage?
He's number 2. Bo Nix is number 1 at 79.2.
Damn. What's Bo Nix's stats?
1,800 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 1 interception.
Yeah, I mean, I would lean him over JJ right now too.
Yeah, those are solid numbers from Bo.
The thing about the Heisman though, you're especially a quarterback, your win loss definitely matters.
It does matter.
Like if Caleb Williams loses another game, he won't win a Heisman. He could potentially be a finalist still, but he's not winning with 2 losses.
And the only way that you get in that Heisman talk with a lot of win losses if you just have absurd stats.
Unreal. Yeah, and having a three interception game is not going to get you a Heisman.
Yeah. So that was a Heisman highlight this week, and that's
so Jaden Daniels was the one I picked there.
Correct. Yeah, Jaden.
And then I would go Dylan Gabriel after that, and then JJ.
Yeah. So we got
JJ also has played 2 less games almost because he doesn't play in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. That's why I thought as soon as you heard the amount the yardage, I was like, he's gonna know who this is.
The completion percentage too, I knew he was very high, and that's significantly higher than the other 2 guys that you gave. I mean, 5% in 7 games is a pretty high number.
Right. Yeah. So
yeah.
All right. That's all we got for everybody this week. Enjoy more football. I think this should be one of the first weekends I sit down and watch a good amount of college football. I haven't done that yet, so we'll get the chance to do that this weekend. At least the games there's not a lot of games that are important, but at least
there's at least one during each
time slot.
Yeah.
So it should be good. So we will see everybody next Wednesday.